Here we continue to listen for noble truths. Before listening to this discourse, we need to recite the Pali text. Dukkha Ariya Saja, the noble truth of suffering, and Dukkha Samudaya Ariya Saja, the noble truth of the origin of suffering. Can you follow me? Itam Gopana Bhikkhave Dukkha Ariya Saja Jativi Dukkha Jarabi Dukkha Yadidi Dukkha Maranampi Dukkha Apiyehi Sambhyaga Dukkha Iyehi Vipyaga Dukkha Yampe Jana Lavadi Dambi Dukkha Sankhetena Ninju Parane Khanda Dukkha. Number two, Dukkha Samudaya Ariya Saja, noble truth of the origin of suffering. Pali, follow me. Idam Gopana Bhikkhave Dukkha Samudaya Ariya Saja Yayantana Kono Bhavika Nandiraga Sagata Tatra Tatra Vinandini Seyatita Ramadana Bhavadana Vibhavadana. English translation number 1 and 2. Follow me. Now these vehicles is the noble truth of suffering. Birth is suffering. Aging is suffering. Illness is suffering. Death is suffering. Union with what is displeasing is suffering. Separation from what is pleasing is suffering. Not to get what one wants is suffering. In brief, the 5 aggregates subject to clinging are suffering. Number 2, Dukkha Samudaya Ariya Saja, noble truth of the origin of suffering. English translation, follow me. Now these bhikkhus is the noble truth of the origin of suffering. It is this craving which leads to becoming accompanied by delight and lust, seeking delight here and there. That is craving for sensual pleasures, craving for permanent becoming, craving for one life becoming. To understand this noble truth, 4 noble truths, we need to practice vipassana meditation. There are many questions regarding vipassana. Mahasi Sayadaw answer these questions in the fundamental principle of vipassana meditation. The questions are, number 1, to develop vipassana insight knowledge, what object we need to contemplate? Number 2, what, when and for what purpose should they be noted? Number 3, if we fail to note at the moment of arising what will happen. And number 4, noting the 5 aggregates every time they arise, what will happen? The first question is, what object we need to contemplate to develop our Vipassana insight knowledge? The answer is by noting the 5 Upadana Khanda. Pincha Upadana Khanda, 5 aggregates subject to clinging as they really are. If we do not observe, if we do not contemplate the 5 aggregates subject to clinging as they really are, we cannot attain Vipassana insight knowledge. So we need to contemplate the 5 aggregates subject to clinging as they really are. And second, when and for what purpose should 5 aggregates subject to clinging be noted? 5 aggregates subject to clinging should be noted at the moment of their arising. For what purpose? To cut off attachment, to cut off clinging. If we do not note, if we do not contemplate these 5 Upadana Khanda, we may cling to these aggregates. If we are not mindful, if we do not practice, if we fail to note these 5 Upadana Khanda, at the moment of their arising, we will attach to these aggregates as permanent, pleasurable, pleasant, or sad. Mahasi Sayadaw answered this question. If meditator note the 5 aggregates subject to clinging every time they arise, every time when they see, hear, smell, taste, touch, and know, meditator can remove the clinging and attachment. In this way, clear insight, knowledge as to their impermanent nature, unsatisfactory nature, and suffering nature can be developed. Dite Dikta Matamboisati, Sute Sutta Matamboisati. Let there be seeing with regard to what is seeing. Let there be hearing with regard to what is hearing. Buddha said. So at the moment of hearing, pleasurable sound, agreeable sound, if we're not mindful, we cling to that sound, and clinging arise. It is permanent, it is pleasurable or pleasant. I hear the sound, the kinds of clinging will arise. If the sound is unpleasurable, ugly sound, attachment will arise, clinging will arise. It is permanent, it is unpleasurable, it is ugly, I hear it. So that kinds of clinging will arise. So every hearing, we need to note hearing. We need to capture the five aggregates at the moment of hearing. Obviously, there is eardrum, which can hear easily. And there is also sound wave, which is quite audible, and consciousness, which knows that a sound has been heard. In this consciousness of hearing is comprised pleasant feeling or unpleasant feeling of hearing, perception of the sound, wailing, exertion and turning the mind towards the object of sound to accomplish the acts of hearing, and just knowing that a sound has been heard. Ordinary people who have not the opportunity to practice mindfulness, and so they have no knowledge of reality as it truly is. They become attached to all phenomena prominent at the moment of hearing as I hear, etc. Because of the liability of such attachment and clinging, the eardrum and the material body of sound are known as Rupa Upadana. The pleasant or unpleasant feeling of hearing is Vedana Upadana. Perception of sound is Sanya Upadana. Exercising the way to see an object and turning the mind towards it is Sankarupadana. Just knowing that a sound has been heard is Vinyanupadana. So look at your paper. Pincha Upadana. Number 2. Can you follow me? At the moment of hearing, the ear and sound are Rupa Khanda. They are subject to clinging and therefore are called Rupupadana. The pleasant feeling or unpleasant feeling in the hearing process are Vedana Khanda. They are subject to clinging and therefore are called Vedanupadana. Recognizing or remembering the sound is Sinya Khanda. It is subject to clinging and therefore is called Sinyupadana. The remaining mental states led by the intention Chetana to hear are Sankara Khanda. They are subject to clinging and therefore are called Sankarupadana. Just knowing that a sound has been heard is Vijnana Khanda. It is subject to clinging and therefore is called Vijnanupadana. So the moment you hear the sound, you need to note hearing, so that you can capture these aggregates. And as soon as you capture it, they disappear. They disappear, so they are called Dukkha, truth of suffering. Can you follow me? All aggregates are disappearing when you note hearing, so they are called Dukkha Sitya, truth of suffering. You try to find out what is Dukkha Sitya, what the truth of suffering. So in this sutta, Buddha mentioned Sankhetena Pinjupadana Khanda Dukkha. In brief, the five aggregates subject to clinging, five upadana khanda are suffering. So every seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching is suffering. Standing, walking, touching, bending are suffering. Rising, falling is suffering, etc. So every bodily behavior, every mental behavior, every power behavior you try to contemplate seriously, and you can find the truth of suffering, dukkha sitya. So happiness is also suffering. Buddha said that most beings are composed of five aggregates, agree, agree, aggregates of perception, aggregates of mental formation, aggregates of consciousness, or we can say we have the body, feelings, perception, other mental states and consciousness. These five aggregates, almost all of these five aggregates are subject of clinging, the subject of attachment. So Buddha means to say everything in the world, everything in the world, sorry. Why Buddha said? Because whatever is impermanent is dukkha. Anything that is impermanent must be dukkha. Our bodies are impermanent. Our body will not last forever. Our thoughts, our mental state, they just come and go very immediately. So what we take to be happiness just comes and goes. People enjoy life. They enjoy all kinds of sensual pleasures. They do not last long. All come and go continuously. Since they are impermanent, because they have a beginning and end, they are said to be dukkha, suffering. So in this sense, everything in this sensual world is dukkha. Yayantana Bono Bhavika, this craving gives rise to fresh rebirth. Nandi Ragasagata, this craving is bound up with pleasure and lust. It is associated with pleasure. Actually, pleasure and lust are themselves craving. So craving, lust, pleasure, attachment, greed, they mean the same thing. And also Buddha said, Tatra Tatra Binandini. Craving finds ever fresh delight here and there. Here and there means in this life and in that life, or in lives. Now it is said that the first active thought moment in one life is accompanied by attachment to that life. Wherever a being is reborn, even if he is reborn in hell, the first active moment in that life is always bound up with attachment. So it takes delight in this here and there. And there are three kinds of craving mentioned in the first sermon and also mentioned in other places. The origin of dukkha is craving. Here where the Buddha say craving gives rise to fresh rebirth and so on, that means the present rebirth is the result of the past craving, and then the present craving will be the cause of future rebirth. In that way, we should understand the second noble truth, dukkha samudaya ariya satya. Another way of understanding the second noble truth is to consider situation in this life, and we can see that craving causes suffering. We often hear news about the plane crash. Many people are killed in the crash. When we hear the news, how much dukkha we suffer, maybe just a little bit. We may say we may have compassion to them, oh unfortunate people, poor people. So we have compassion to them. But we don't feel so deeply. But if there was a friend of ours among those who perish, our suffering is greater. We suffer more. What if a relative of ours was in the crash, or a very dear person was in the crash? We would suffer a lot. So our suffering actually is not caused by the death of a person, but the attachment we put on that person. The more attachment we have for that person, the more suffering we suffer, the more dukkha we suffer. So the real culprit here is attachment or craving for that person and not the death of or the loss of that person. The same is true for things we put much value on. Sometimes the price of the things may not be great. We put some sentimental value on it, so we cherish it. If the thing is taken away from us, if the thing is stolen, or let's say if it, if it gets broken, we suffer a lot because we have put so much attachment, so much sentimental value on the things. So our suffering is not caused actually by the loss of the thing. Actually, it is caused by the degree of attachment we put on that things. So the more attachment we have for that person, the more dukkha we suffer. The less attachment we have, the less dukkha we suffer. So can you follow me? The more attachment we have, the more dukkha we suffer. The more attachment we have, the more dukkha we suffer. The less attachment we have, the less dukkha we suffer. So if we understand that way, we can understand that attachment causes suffering. The Buddha explanation goes deeper than that. Actually, the Buddha explanation here is that Yayantana Ponobhavika, craving gives rise to fresh rebirth. Now we are all attached to our lives. We don't want to die. We hold on to our lives until the last moment. So strong is that attachment to life that it has the potential, it has the energy to create another life. So even though we die here, the attachment we have creates or brings about or gives rise to another birth in the future. So the future rebirth is actually the result of the attachment we have in this life. Actually, Buddha and those who have the supernormal power of remembering past lives and also the supernormal power of seeing beings dying in one existence and being reborn in another. Such person alone can see clearly. We also believe that craving gives rise to fresh rebirth because the Buddha taught it, and also we can infer this from craving causing suffering in this life. If it can cause suffering in this life, it also cause suffering in future lives because it has the power, it has the potential to create life in the future. And Buddha said there are three kinds of craving. We want you to be familiar with the Pali names of the three kinds of craving. The first is Kamatana, the second is Bhavatana, and the third is Vibhavatana. Can you follow me? Kamatana, Bhavatana, Vibhavatana. So we want you to be familiar with Pali words because there is much misunderstanding about these three. So try to be patient to understand the Pali. We will continue tomorrow. We have to stop our discuss for today. By practicing Vipassana meditation, by observing every phenomena occurring at the six senses, by noting rising, falling, sitting, touching, stretching, bending, seeing, hearing, diligently, may all meditators understand the truth of suffering. May all yogis get rid of the cause of suffering. May all meditators realize the nirvana, the sensations of suffering. May you develop the Eightfold Path, which is the path leading to the cessation of suffering. May you realize the real peace in the very near future.